Welcome back, fight fans, to another episode of The Coach and the Kid. I, of course, am the Kid, joined as always by my host, the Coach. And Coach, we are back for a UFC fight night in front of a live crowd, live from Houston, Texas. Sean Strickland, the former middleweight champion, takes on the surging contender, Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. But before we get into that and break down the full main card, Coach, I want to go back to last week. Oliveira versus Bautista. You were 6-0, Coach. How did you feel about those picks, and how did you feel about the event?
How do you think I felt about him? That's a ridiculous question. 6-0. How would you feel? You probably don't know. Anyway, if you guys out there watching us, if you had picked with me, see that? You'd be driving one of these. Yep. But I thought the fights were cool, and I thought I did a great job picking. I'm getting better at it. I think Kid, what am I, 10-1 since the new year? So I give you props, man. I've learned a lot from you. I've listened to my research, and it's fun. And I'm looking forward to this card.
10-1, Coach, 100%. The Epstein files have come out, and Coach is 10-1 in 2026. Even blind squirrels find a nut every once in a while. But Coach, let's get into the main card of UFC Houston. I'm going to let you lead this one off because, like you said, you are on a hot streak, and you always hit your hot batter lead off. Coach, Reese versus Pereira. Zach the Savage Reese, the hometown boy, fighting out of Houston, Texas, takes on Michel Pereira. Where are you going with this one?
Michel Pereira, I'm not a fan, and I usually like Brazil guys, but I know this is probably against what you're gonna pick. I got a feeling, but I like Zach Reese. I think he is a savage, and I think a lot of people go, he's not that great, but the cool thing about these fights, we're gonna find out who these guys really are. There's some guys that people are talking about, but they're not really sure. I think Zach Reese, he's got big power. He's a little bit younger. He's got the reach. He's very athletic, and I think he's going to win by decision. I really do. Pereira, I don't think he's that great. That's just my personal opinion. And I think that out of Houston, Texas, with a Houston, Texas boy, we're looking good. Go ahead, kid.
Yeah, Coach, it's tough to pick against the guy who's got a home game. He's going to have family and friends there. His whole gym is going to be at this event, so he doesn't want to let those people down. The thing about Michel Pereira, this guy reminds me of a Brazilian Kevin Holland. You don't know who you're going to get when he goes in there. He's had some brilliant performances. That fight against Michael Olajaychik, who you picked last week, Coach, has aged extremely well. He's on a 4-fight win streak now, and Pereira ran through him in less than a minute and a half. Just destroyed him, made him look like an amateur. So, Coach, if that Michel Pereira comes out and we see him in the octagon in Houston, Texas next Saturday, I think he also runs through Zach Reese. But the problem for me is we've seen him have some down fights. He just got knocked out by Kyle Dawkins. That's ridiculous. I mean, you can't be getting exactly, Coach. The Darce Knight. You know when a guy has a nickname based off a submission, they usually don't have great hands. And to get knocked out by that guy, whose brother was in the UFC too and lost 6 in a row and is now a policeman, Coach, it's not a good look for Pereira, but I just don't see it for Zach Reese. I think he's a brawler. He doesn't wrestle enough. I think he should wrestle more in some of his fights. That fight with Therese Finney, I was not impressed. So, Coach, I think Michel Pereira is the better athlete. I think he needs to tone up the aggressiveness. I think he kind of toned down. Similar to with Johnny Walker. When Johnny Walker first came on the scene in the UFC, he was a wild man, and he got with the coaches at Straight Blast Gym in Ireland, and they kind of toned him down a bit, and I think that took away from his style. I think Michel Pereira needs to bring back that aggressive, wild capoeira style, and if he does that, Coach, I can see him finishing Zach Reese in the second round. I'm going to go with Pereira by second round TKO.
Okay, fair enough.
Let's move on, Coach. We've got 6 fights once again on this main card with the new addition of Jacoby Smith versus Josiah Harrell. Coach, I'll take the lead on this one. Jacoby Smith is a very highly touted wrestling prospect. And I know he's 30, so he's still considered a prospect, but this guy was an All-American at Oklahoma State. Really, really solid wrestling pedigree. And on the other end, we have the debutant Josiah Harrell. This guy has an interesting story, Coach. He was scheduled to make his debut at UFC 290 against former champion Jack Della Maddalena before being pulled due to health issues. The doctors would not let him fight. Coach, he's gotten a couple fights back on the regional scene. 11-0 are both men. I just think Jacoby Smith is going to be too much here for the muscle hamster Josiah Harrell, coach. You look at the intangibles. I mean, he's 5'7", 171 with a 67-inch reach. That's not a good look, coach. Unless you're Daniel Cormier, being 5'7" at these upper weight divisions, especially being a wrestler, is not a trait that you want to have. I think Jacoby Smith, both these guys have wrestling backgrounds, coach. And when I have two wrestlers, I'm going to pick the guy who was an All-American at one of the most prestigious universities in the nation. Coach, give me Jacoby Smith. I'm going to go by first round submission. I think Harrell is extremely tough. The story is great, but ultimately that won't be enough in the cage here. Give me Smith.
I agree with you. I'm going to take Jacoby also, but I think he's going to knock him out. And frankly, if he doesn't knock him out, he might gas out because he doesn't have great cardio, and he's proven that. But he does. He's a good striker, and I like him, and that's his thing. He can't, yeah, obviously he's a good wrestler, but he's got power. He's got really good power, and that got him to this place. So I'm going to go with Jacoby, and I think he's going to knock him out early, maybe second round. And so I'm going with Smith also.
I like it, coach. We're on the same page. I think Jacoby Smith, not to harp on this fight too much, but you see a lot of the times these high-level wrestlers fall in love with the hands. I think he needs to go back to that wrestling background, especially if he is getting gassed on the feet. Coach, let's move on to our third fight of the night. I'm going to let you take the wheel here. You are our heavyweight expert. Sergey Spivak takes on Tom Aspinall's teammate, Ante Dalia. Where are you going with this one, coach?
I've been having such a tough time picking these heavyweights because frankly, I get so freaking bored with them. And I think I'm going to go with, God, man, I had a tough time with this one. I'm going to go with Dalia because I just think he's all around a better fighter. And Spivak, man, I'm getting tired of these Russian type guys, that just smother guys. I want to see a Croatian win just because of what's going on. I'm a tennis guy. I like Croatian tennis players. And I know this is a weird way to pick a guy, but I'm going to go with Dalia. I like his picture better too.
At this point, coach, I mean, the way you've led off the year, I can't argue with your methods no matter who you're picking. I mean, it's easy to back with that 10-1 record in 2026. I went back and forth on this too, coach. I mean, these first 4 or 5 fights, you don't have a favorite higher than minus 180. So these are all close to pick 'em fights. They're coin flip fights. I think Sergey Spivak has shown an up and down level. Ante Dalia came into the UFC hot with a couple TKOs, and he was beating Waldo Cortez Acosta before that little eye poke controversy, and then he got knocked out. Kind of a weird fight there. I thought he looked great against Waldo before that finish, coach. To me, he's got great training partners. I know Aspinall probably hasn't been on the gym. I can't see. The UFC is not going to book me a fight because I can't see, coach. I've both my eyes. They're both screwed up because of that Cyril Gane eye poke. But if he is in the room, he's coaching Dalia up how to beat Sergey Spivak because Aspinall has the game plan to beat Spivak. And I'm sure he's been in contact with Dalia. Aspinall dominated Spivak. For me, the game plan is there. I think Dalia is up and down, but both men are, coach. We've seen Spivak have some horrible performances, and then we've seen him beat Derek Lewis, but at this point, who hasn't beat that guy? I mean, For me, coach, Dalia is the higher level striker. I think if he can keep this fight on the feet, Spivak's going to have a tougher time grappling Dalia. He's huge, 6'3", 237. I expect him to be about 250 come fight night. So for me, coach, Dalia keeps it on the feet and knocks him out within the first 2 rounds.
Good call. I like it.
Coach, let's move on to our 4th fight of the night. And for me, I think you might be on the same page, coach. This is going to be my pick for fight of the night. Dan 50K Ige, as known by the alias, will always bring it. And he fights the ever exciting Melquizel Costa. Coach, where are you going with this one? I'm going to have you lead off once again.
Man, you know what? The last time I saw Milky, I loved him. And he's so weird looking. But he really looked good the last time. He's a Thai boxer. He likes to fight. He's a good attacker. Dan Ige, I love this guy. The first time when I saw him go into that fight where he just at the last minute came in, was a dog fight. I haven't seen anything like that since. He hasn't looked good at all since then. And I like Milky in this one just because I like him. And I think he's a happy guy, likes to fight, and I don't trust Ige at all. I would have bet after that one fight. Who was that against?
Diego Lopez, actually.
Exactly, and that was a war.
It was on like 10 minutes notice.
Yeah, 10 minutes notice. He came in. I thought, this guy is hungry, man. I would bet the house on this guy after. Then the next time I saw him, I go, "Who? This guy sucks." And I was really bummed out because you know how you push all your chips in on a guy and then he like looks like that, the same way that Ursag did that with us. You know how we loved him. I think the guy that we really backed that's come through has been Josh Van.
Yeah.
But I think Milky Costa, man, I think he's the real deal, and I think he loves fighting, and I think because he's so odd looking, he's good for the UFC because he's so different, and he's a dog, man. He goes in there and he goes after guys, man. He's a hungry dude, so I'm going with Costa all the way.
Yeah, Coach, I went back and forth on this fight as well, and I don't want to make the same mistake where you pick the journeyman against a surging contender. This fight reminds me so much, Coach, and we talked about this in our pre-fight meeting, so much of Calvin Kattar versus Steve Garcia, and we were on the wrong end of that. We both picked Kattar because we thought the journeyman is going to be able to bring some of those veteran tools to the table, and it just doesn't happen. If you look at Costa's record, he's 25-7, has a great record in the UFC, one loss, and that was to the man aforementioned, Steve Garcia. That loss has aged incredibly well, and that was up a weight class, Coach. So has he really lost a true fight at 145? To me, Dan Ige, like you said, we pushed all the chips on the table. We picked him against Patricio Pitbull, who was coming off a lackluster performance against Yair Rodriguez, and then he did nothing in that fight, Coach. Absolutely terrible game plan from Ige against Patricio Pitbull. I can't trust him here, Coach. I think you're 100% right. Costa is a guy, if you're going to pick him, at least if you lose, you know he's going to fight for that pick because he's a guy who will not go down. He's not going to quit on you. He's not going to quit on the stool. Look at this record, man. He has some great wins, quality wins of these guys outside the top 15. Andre Fili, a couple other wars against Morgan Charrier. Those are good non-ranked wins, Coach. And for me, Ige is on a downward trajectory and Costa is heading right up. So for me, Coach, I think Costa takes a decision here. I don't think he finishes Ige. I think Ige is too tough to get finished in this matchup, but I could definitely see it. Costa's a guy, like you said, who loves violence and is a guy who's going to bring the fight to you, and I think that's what the judges look for. They look for an advancing fighter as well as damage. Those are the two main criterias, and I think Costa checks both of those boxes off incredibly well. So for me, Coach, let's make it 2 for 2. We're both going with Costa.
Yeah, I think 50K's days and 50K's are over. So, yeah, let's move on.
I agree, Coach. That is my fight of the night pick. Let's move on to the co-main event. Another striker's delight between two bangers here, Coach. Jeff Hands of Steel Neal takes on Uros the Doctor Medic. Coach, Jeff Neal coming off the first stoppage of his UFC career by KO at the hands of Carlos the Nightmare Prates. But Coach, to me that doesn't take away from the fact that Jeff Neal looked really solid in that fight prior to the finish. I think Uros Medic, if you look at his record, has he really fought anybody? The last couple of wins have come against Gilbert Urbina and a couple other guys who aren't even in the UFC anymore, Coach. Lost to Jalen Turner, got dominated by him. So anytime you see him take a step up in competition into that upper echelon of guys that could be in the top 15, both at 55 and 70, he loses. He gets dominated. And there's been a couple instances of that in the UFC. For me, it's all about if Jeff Neal is going to be gun shy or not. This guy is going to be the hometown boy here, fighting in front of his home crowd. Works at Outback Steakhouse as a waiter, Coach. So all of his regulars are going to be here at the event cheering for him. All the people tipping him, all the people giving him, Jeff, I know the UFC is paying you 12 and 12, so here's a 20. Go fill up the gas tank. All those guys are going to be here rooting for him. So for me, Coach, I think Jeff Hands of Steel Neal has great boxing in the pocket. This guy has underrated hands. He's been a staple of the top 15 for the last 5 to even maybe 8 years, Coach. This guy's been in the top 15 for a long time. He's got some quality wins. He dominated Vicente Luque. I just think he's underrated here. I know he's the favorite, Coach, but he's coming off the back of that finish. If he's not gun shy, if he's willing to get into the pocket with Medic, who's also a deadly striker, I can see Jeff Neal taking him out. And Medic is a little bit chinny. We've seen him finish before. Coach, give me Jeff Neal by stoppage here. I like the hands. I think his takedown defense, if Medic wants to shoot, is very solid. It will hold up well. I just think Jeff Neal's hands are better. He's going to beat Medic to the punch. and he's the longer man here. 4-inch reach advantage, even though he is the 2 inches shorter man. To me, Coach, Neal's going to use that length, and he's going to finish Medic here.
Well, I disagree on one thing. I think Jeff Neal is going to knock him out. And I'll tell you, Jeff Neal has had nothing but tough fights. He's fought nothing but – these are two different guys. One guy's – Medic has fought a bunch of old guys, nobody of any significance, and Neal has fought nothing but studs. And he's going to be the tougher guy. And you're right. Everybody from the Outback's going to be down there, and he's going to want to please them because he's going to want to go back to work on Monday and get those tips, and they're probably going to give him like one of those awesome blossoms for free. So I'm excited. I think he's going to win by KO. I don't think much of Medic, and he's going to need a Medic. I'll tell you that. I think Neal's going to chin him, and I like Neal anyway, and he does have hands of steel. He's one hell of a big puncher. And I think he's going to KO him. So, yeah, that's my pick. I'm with you on it, but I think it's going to be a KO.
Coach, that's what I said, Coach. I said by stoppage. He's going to stop him.
Okay, don't get snarky with me, okay?
No, we're on the same page. That's what I'm telling you. That's what I said. I agree.
Well,
I think he's going to knock him out too.
Excuse me. Like your boy says, excuse me.
We're in agreement. I think he's going to knock him out. He's got great hands. He's got the background, the criminal background, been arrested for DUI, and he's got the Outback Steakhouse trio. So for me, Jeff Neal, hands of steel. Give me him by second round KO.
Okay, the DUI is not like John Jones.
No.
Yeah, so let's not call him a criminal, okay? All right?
He's got a record, though, and that helps. He's hard. So
okay, he stayed at the Outback too late, and everybody said, "Hey, man, you got a lot of tips. Let's have a beer." And then he gets pulled over. Okay, it happens.
That's fair. Right? That's fair. For me, though, that gives him the edge over Medic. Medic's never been in the slammer. Give me Neal.
I'm with you there.
Let's move on, Coach, to our main event of the evening. The two men around whom this fight card was built. Sean, here's the fucking thing, you guys. Strickland takes on the surging contender, Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Coach, I'm going to let you lead this one off here because I know we're on opposite ends of this fight. Who are you going with?
I'm going with Fluffy. It's weird to see a fighter named Fluffy, but the last time I've seen him fight a couple times where he just looked unbelievable. And, anybody from Dunnigan, California, which is not too far away. There's really nothing in Dunnigan.
Yeah, we're both from California, by the way, so nothing against Dunnigan.
If you've ever driven through Dunnigan, if you reach down to grab a French fry from where they fell between the seats and you look up, you've already gone through Dunnigan. It's a nothing town. I like Fluffy though. I think he's tough, and I think he's trending up. Your boy Sean, and I want him to win. I'm kind of tired of Sean's act, even though. I like watching him march guys down. He looks like one of those fighters from 1920, where he's just standing there like this.
He does.
He's kind of fun to watch, I gotta admit, but he's such a douche at times, man. It's like, I don't know. The only good thing about him is that you've got a great impersonation of him. So what would Sean say about this fight? I'm going with Fluffy. Sean, what do you think?
Here's the thing, you guys. I think that's a horrible pick from the coach, you guys. And I think that I'm going to treat this guy like an immigration officer, you guys. I'm going to take him out of the country.
And so for me, Sean, I think you're right. I think he is going to take him out here. Sean Strickland has had some very impressive performances, and he's a guy who thrives on these short notice opportunities. We saw him take out Nasruddin Imavov on a week's notice, Coach. It's like Joe Rogan says, who does that, man? Who does that to these guys? Sean Strickland does, Coach. And for me, Anthony Hernandez has looked great against guys who don't want to grapple. Your boy, Napoleon Dynamite 2.0, one of your fan favorites, Roman Kopylov, doesn't know how to grapple. He's a white belt in jiu-jitsu. Obviously, Anthony Hernandez is going to look like Khabib against him. Even the last fight, Roman Dolidze, that he dominated. I will admit, he looked good against Brendan Allen. But Brendan Allen's fight IQ is horrible. It's horrible. I mean, he could have kept that fight on the feet and beat Hernandez by decision, in my opinion. Roman Dolidze in the last fight, Anthony Hernandez bullied him for 4.5 rounds. That was bad, coach. I think that's why he's a favorite here, because of how good he looked against Dolidze. But Dolidze's a guy who I don't consider to be elite. I think he's willing to get taken down. I think he wants the submission off his back, so he'll go to his back. I mean, it was a bad look for Dolidze in that fight, but I don't think he's that great. He's went to war against Marvin Vettori twice. So what does that tell you? He's kind of a blockhead, not a lot of IQ there, but nothing taken away from Hernandez. He looked incredible. For me, Sean Strickland has some of the best takedown defense in the middleweight division, and I think that's what Hernandez prides himself on, is taking these guys down and smothering them. He's almost like the Merab of 185. He will shoot, get you on the back foot. He wants to pressure you. He's had some great wins. He's surging, he's streaking. But for me, coach, Sean Strickland, you see the last 5. He's 3-2. Both of those losses have come against Dricus du Plessis. I thought he won the first fight. I thought he beat Dricus in that first fight. In the second fight, he got dominated for 5 rounds. So that's not a great look. This is his comeback fight. Coach, I think what Anthony Hernandez does well, Sean Strickland can neutralize. And I think once he is able to do that, Fluffy might get a little bit discouraged. We've seen Fluffy get put on the back foot before. I think Hernandez is going to have some early success. But if Sean can weather that storm and pick up in the last couple rounds, I know Hernandez's strong suit is the cardio, but Strickland has some great cardio too. We've seen him pick up the steam later in fights. Coach, I think Sean stops him in the 3rd or 4th or wins a decision. I'm going to take the underdog here. I think he's like a almost plus 250 underdog. I think that's incredibly disrespectful here for the former champ. This guy has put in some great performances on short notice. Coach, beat Adesanya on short notice, didn't know he was going to fight him, took that opportunity and dominated him over 5 rounds. Beat Abis Nurmagomedov over 5 rounds, dominated him. Beat Imavov over 5 rounds, dominated him. This guy is built for these 5-round main events. I mean, the last time we saw him really lose was against Dricus, and Dricus was beating everybody at the time. Coach, I don't put a lot of stock into that loss. I'm going to take Strickland here.
I like it. I mean, that's what makes this podcast so great. Sometimes we don't agree, and that's okay. I just hope it's a great card. It looks real good. And sometimes you think, okay, it looks like an okay card. That's where you get your best fights.
100%.
It never fails. And a lot of times the prelims are just so freaking fun, man. So I'm looking forward to it. And man, I'll tell you something. When you sometimes you think to yourself, God, there's too many fight cards. But then when you get a gap, all of a sudden you're like, when's the next fight card?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm glad we got something coming up, because I'll tell you, it's Saturday night and it's Valentine's Day, but I got nothing. My wife's downstairs doing God knows what, and I'm sitting up here doing a podcast. So happy Valentine's Day, kid.
Happy Valentine's Day, Coach. I think this main card is going to be one of your favorites, Coach, because we got a ton of striking matchups. There's not a lot of these guys on this card that want to control you on the ground. Even Fluffy Hernandez, who, like I said, prides himself on his wrestling and cardio, is an exciting wrestler. He's going to be on the pressure. He wants damage. For me, Coach, I think this is shaping up to be a great card. There's some great fights on the prelims. Alden Correa, who is Joshua Van's main training partner out in Houston, is fighting on the headline of the prelims. So I love a lot of these fights, Coach. Before we take a break from this UFC event, it is 1 week away, Coach, but I wanted to tell everybody, if people are making it to the end of this video, we do have a new TikTok, Budge MMA, same as our YouTube. If you guys like this content, if you guys like the predictions, if you guys are a fan of the channel, all we ask is to drop a comment and subscribe to the channel. We just want to hear your guys' feedback. Coach and the kid, we like to hear what our fans and viewers have to say to us. If you guys want shorter level media, that's why we brought the TikTok in. We're putting out 1 to 2 minute videos on there. Our first video was out of Coach going 6-0. Coach, you got anything to say about the TikTok and YouTube?
I thought it was really cool. Well done. Well done, kid. And we'll see y'all later.
I agree, Coach. We build up to fight week. Sean Strickland versus Anthony Hernandez, presumably for the next 185-pound title shot, comes to you live from Houston, Texas. Next Saturday, we'll be back to break down Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway. UFC 316, the baddest motherfucker title is on the line. We're the Coach and the kid, and we're out. Love you, Coach.